Every day is like a new day whenever you have Mr. Hawkins. In government, he basically has lectures every day, and they're pretty engaging. But in this class, he always connects the history content to whatever we're doing in the project, and then we implement that to the project. That really helps us get like a better understanding of the content. There's always a thought among students that teachers might be annoyed if you keep asking questions, but it seems like Mr. Hawkins always seems to enjoy being asked questions. Whenever you ask a question or you have your hand up, he always has a smile on his face and he approaches you with a greeting and a warm feeling. And you always feel welcomed in his presence, and it just makes everything easier, especially when you ask questions. And then when he answers those questions, it's very simplified and to the point, and it makes everything easier. He's a very dynamic person, like as an individual. The way he teaches in class, and I don't know, just the way he talks too is pretty interesting. A lot of teachers, especially in my time at school, kind of talk the same, I guess, and then over time you just kind of fall asleep during it. But then Mr. Hawkins always throws out vibrant words, and then it kind of sticks with you. It's interesting words that make you smile. Guess he's overqualified to be a teacher, in my opinion. He could be a lawyer, but instead he chose to be a teacher. And I did ask him about it once, and he just said that he just likes helping others, and he feels that he can answer questions with and make others understand it. And I think he really backs that up whenever any student just asks him a question in class, and then he answers it pretty simply. I feel kind of honored, because obviously he could have chose to be a lawyer and done bigger things, I guess. But I mean, that was my initial thought. Lawyers do more things than the teacher. But it's kind of heartwarming if you think about it, that he chose to become a teacher and help the future generations of our society and guiding them on the right path.
Janelle taught at Edison Middle School for a number of years and certainly had an incredible reputation there at Edison for connecting with students and really getting the most out of them. Janelle gives students an opportunity to have a say in their learning. She allows them to be creative. For example, find recipes that interest them but still meet the standards and the content requirements. Not only does she do that, but she also takes learning beyond the classroom. Probably most notably this year, our students catered the Education Foundation fundraiser for the school district, as well as the grand opening of the hotel on Phillips. And those are two great experiences that students had the opportunity to do. It's about learning by doing, applying their learning to the real world. Janelle is one of those teachers that just goes above and beyond. She's always looking for the next best thing or the next experience for her students, and she takes into account their interests and how they want to learn and how they learn best. The students come away from her class excited about learning. Not only can I speak to that as a principal, but as a father of a son who is a sophomore and in one of her courses. For a sophomore boy to come home and talk about how much fun he had in a culinary arts class during the day is a lot of fun to hear. Janelle puts in a lot of her own time. A couple Tuesdays ago, we had a no work day for teachers, and she was down at the Kello studio at 6 in the morning with one of her students doing a cooking special. And that's just an example of what she does. What an incredible experience for that student, and what an opportunity for her to promote not only her program at CTE, but also our entire building. Janelle is the type of teacher that you want your child to have during their educational experience. She'll do whatever it takes to create a positive experience for your child. She knows that culinary arts is a life skill for some students. It's a career opportunity for others, or maybe it's just a hobby for another group of students, but she'll make it a great experience, and she brings out the best in all of her kids.
Her teaching and her coaching very much go hand in hand. She's very supportive. Just in general, she makes sure that all of her students are taken care of, both on the debate trips and also off of them. For instance, in their AP class, she always focuses on the fact that mental health must come first, rather than just scores and testing. And then also supportive of if you want to talk in class, she makes sure that you have the space to do it, and that everyone kind of accepts everyone else's opinion, and we all kind of are able to have open conversations. So I would say a really supportive teacher, and also just a very well learned, she understands what she's talking about, and she's very passionate about what she talks about. When you have a class such as an AP class where kids are already taking on a lot of stress because it is a college level course, priorities have to be made. Whether that priority becomes school or it becomes sleep, those priorities have to be made. And having a teacher who tells you that like your priorities do not have to be grades all of the time is super important, because it means that if a kid is suffering from mental health issues and the kind of repercussions of that, they know that they have someone that A, they can talk to, or B, will understand if they just kind of need to take a step back and like reevaluate how those priorities fall in place. Miss Gill has a certain understanding of like her impact that she can have as a teacher on her students. She feels that she can like teach kids how to understand other people or try and like kind of form bonds with other people, especially if you're like diametrically opposed with someone, because if you think about the subject of government and politics, there's often divisions that can be created in those subjects, and Ms. Gill tries to kind of bring those divisions together, and that is something that is really important to me and has definitely helped me outside of just school, because like being able to understand positions of people is really hard, but being able to talk to someone about their positions is even harder, especially if you don't agree with them. And Ms. Gill is able to like coach me through those conversations so much that I myself am pretty good at it, or I tried really hard to be good at it and understand where people are coming from. She's a really good coach, and she's able to kind of help students access some sort of confidence in themselves so they can walk into any room and know that they can kind of command a presence.
So I have taught with Molly now for 8 years. This year I am blessed to have her be my son's kindergarten teacher, and it just has increased my appreciation for all she does for our building and all she does for students. She just keeps that excitement and that joy for learning in the classroom. She meets district standards, but her classroom is just very joyful. I just so much appreciate that as a mom. When my son comes home, he is so excited to tell me about what he did today, what book they read, what he wrote about during writing workshop, what he did at center time. I just feel really blessed that this is his first experience with school. Molly is just one of those people on our staff that makes everybody better. If there's a problem or if a student is facing a situation, she just wraps her arms around them, and we just focus on what can we do in the building to help kids? What can we do to be positive? She's so professional. I never once have heard her ever raise her voice in front of kids. She always just has that calm teacher talk. She's very, very well respected district-wide. When the district was looking at implementing a junior kindergarten program, she was on that committee. She teaches classes at Augustana for future kindergarten teachers. She truly is passionate about our earliest learners and developmentally appropriate instruction. And then that varied instruction. It's unbelievable the range of learners that she has in her room. It looks seamless, but as a teacher, I know that it's really, really difficult. She spent a half an hour with him before the school year started, and with each student, out of her own time, getting to know them as a person and as a student. And I so appreciated when he walked in the door that first day. She knew right where he was at. Those little life lessons that he brings home are more important to me than academics. She just focuses on not only creating students who love learning, but students who are kind to each other, students who have empathy. After being in KO1, not only is he going to be a great student, have good study habits, be able to self-regulate, be self-motivated, but he also is going to be a better person.